I'm Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Our focus this week is Webb City. We're going to find out about what's happening, and there is a lot happening in Webb City, so we'll get right to the point. Introducing our guest, Lynn Ragsdale, the mayor. Thank you for being here today. Carl Francis, the city administrator. Thank you. And Erin Turner, community development. And I'd like to thank all three of you. So. We're recording this program summer of 2016. I'll start with you, Mayor. If someone were to ask you, what's happening, how are things going in Webb City? What are the general feelings this time of year?
I think the general feelings are busy. It's a great place to live. We kind of want to live, play, and work in the city of Webb City, and it's all going very well right now, and it's a good place to be, especially if you have kids. Just lots of activities.
And Carl, as city administrator, you're kind of overseeing a lot of projects, which we'll talk about in the next half hour.
There's several going on right now. It's kind of mind-boggling at times, but it's been a lot of fun. It's a big challenge.
And I guess, Erin, when we talk about community development, we see progress and growth of people come to town, and we see a lot of new things being built.
We do. There's a lot of stuff going on in Madison and even in our downtown district.
So let's talk on this program that kind of highlights some of the key things that are happening. And I guess one of the things people notice, as we say, are some construction, ongoing projects. You've had some reclaiming of mined lands. So let's start off along those aspects, kind of dealing with things from the past, changing them for the future.
Well, the EPA has started about 10 years ago in the Webb City area doing the land mining reclamation project. They've been a big help in clearing up some of our toxic waste that was on the ground actually from the mining, and they're turning it into usable land. We've joined forces with them in a habitat project, and we're turning a lot of those acres, about 600 acres right now. We have a goal of 1,200 acres, but we're still working towards that. But we're working real hard with EPA and DNR to assist in cleaning those lands up.
So how will they be utilized after they are cleaned up then?
Some of them are private property, some of them are city owned. The East Road Centennial TDD area is an industrial retail area that the city has purchased just north of the roundabout. We hope to see retail begin to grow into that area. We hope to see industrial close to that area. And we hope to just see some growth. And then some of the other areas that are also city owned will become part of a natural habitat along with DNR, EPA, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife. We've teamed together to create almost another city park, whole another set of parks. It'll be a walking trail, those types of areas. It has conservation easements on it, so nothing can be built on it.
So really a chance for people to get out and experience nature in the middle of town.
Absolutely.
Nearby in the town. Now I know we have some pictures as we go along today. We'll be talking with some of these pictures, but Erin, he mentioned retail, and for years we've been thinking, you mentioned Madison, the main strip where all the retail, but there's not that way anymore. You're growing and developing.
Well, right. Really the areas for growth are north. And the city had the foresight several years ago to say we need to kind of get some of this new reclaimed land and establish Centennial Park, our transportation development district. And so the vision from citizens and also our city leaders was to create this retail space, hotels, shopping, restaurants, that sort of thing along East Road, right off the roundabout, which is off of 249. So the access to the highways and heading north and south and east and west is just really right there at Webb City in Centennial Park.
Good. And Mayor, you mentioned a great place to live, and I know driving through Webb City, we still see a lot of housing construction.
Yes, yes. I don't think it's slowed down very much. We have a lot of new houses, new subdivisions. I happen to live in one of them, and we just are very proud of the way the city manages all of those and keeps them, I think, well balanced. There's housing at multiple levels of size and income status and all those things, and I think that we have a good balance in that, and one of our goals is to keep that balance.
And I imagine then you work closely with the schools as those houses or those facilities are built, so they know that people with children, like you said, families will be moving in.
We've always worked on the philosophy of the city being a three-legged stool, with the city government, the Chamber of Commerce for our business community, and the schools all occupying a very important leg on our stool. And I don't think that we would be the city we are without the schools, and I think they would agree they wouldn't be the school system they are without the good city cooperation.
So a lot of people working together in what you're doing. Well, if we could get some of the pictures shown behind the scenes, we'll bring these up and kind of discuss, as we go along. You mentioned Centennial Park. For people who aren't familiar, this is the part of your planning for the future.
That's right. We mentioned the retail and things like that, but also within those 300 acres, we plan for some light industrial and manufacturing as well. There's some rail property available, and just really good space for that type of business.
So does this tie into region-wide economic development? We're talking about businesses looking at the region.
Yes.
Yeah, we're a member of the Joplin Regional Partnership. We have joined several years ago. We work closely with them. Erin works real close with them, and they go out and recruit, try to help us with recruiting of businesses that fit our need. We've actually had situations where we didn't want certain things, and you got to be careful. Planning and zoning is very conscious of the fact that we have to find things that fit our need, and they're working real hard to make sure they find those businesses that will be kind to the environment and be good to the community.
So you really, it's that planning carefully for the future.
Yes.
And we really appreciate our citizen input, and we had some planning sessions over the last 12 months to get that input from our citizens. What would they like to see Webb City look like in 10, 15, 20 years?
So citizen input and planning is important to have that communication from the
Yes.
people who live there.
We really want that long-range plan for every one of our departments, as well as all of our community interest is that they think in terms of what's this going to do for our kids and grandkids, not how does it immediately gratify something we want, but what's it going to look like down the road.
And that could probably be a challenge sometimes.
Very much.
The big challenge is making sure our infrastructure stays up to date and gets within the guidelines of DNR. That's been a major focus of mine for the last several years, is just getting the infrastructure up to the standard in which is necessary to pass the current guidelines and regulations. And those guidelines and regulations, unfortunately, are changing daily. And it's a big challenge to keep up. I think we've done a great job. I think the city of Webb City, for many years, has prepared to move into the future and saw some problems that were coming down the road, different testing and analysis at our water level and also our wastewater level. They prepared ahead of time, and we're still preparing ahead of time. We're moving on things right now that technically are not in place, but we know they're coming. So we're preparing for them now.
And that's something citizens or people really don't see. They don't think about that behind the scenes infrastructure. When you flush the toilet, you don't think about where it goes, basically.
There's very much the philosophy in the city government and what all of us do, like the old lamplighters of old. You don't know where they are, but you know where they've been because the light's on. And so if we do our job well, the citizens don't really know a lot about what goes on, but everything works, functions, and grows at a managed pace. So the more we're not seen is probably the best.
So they know it's working.
Yeah.
And there's big problems, but there's also been big accomplishments.
Yes.
We have big issues looking at us down the road, $1 million issues coming at us.
So nothing comes cheaply.
Nothing comes cheaply anymore.
And the costs keep continuing to rise.
Yeah.
So, well, let's continue with some of our pictures and see what we have. A nice bridge scene to describe for the viewers what they're seeing here.
Well, that's one of my favorites because it's what I see out my back door every morning. And so the park system has just grown, is doing a great job. That is the bridge. It has a name, but I'm going blank on what we've called that bridge. Doesn't it have a name that somebody's used along the way?
It was hauled in from up north. I'm not
So
sure.
it's a historic bridge moved to town.
Yes, and then the lake during the work the EPA has done in the park has been expanded. It's a lot larger. It's been sealed to a way it doesn't leak out, so it holds water, and it's a great green space, and it's just lit at night. It's just a very nice piece in our park.
And
like you have a nice
it's
trail.
really interesting. This picture was taken just a few weeks ago. There you see people fishing. They can catch and release now, and non-motorized boats. And so
on
there
that
were
little
people on that same day kayaking, about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
It was really fun to see
And
people out there.
you did mention that trail, and we like that trail. It's approximately 1 mile of paved trail right now, with great plans for expanding the trail system all through the park so it would actually connect to the city.
Right.
Yeah, and probably one of the first things I think we're looking at right now is getting some lighting on it at night. It's kind of dark back in there at night, and it's the Georgia City Bridge. I just
Georgia
remembered.
City.
Okay, yes.
Right.
And but yeah, so we're looking at the possibility of putting some solar lighting along it just to see how that works out.
Right. Well, as much as we have the sunshine.
Yes.
Hey, another
The
wide
Centennial.
view. This is the park area we've talked about?
That is the Centennial TDD area. That is where we hope to see some future expansion in the retail and light industrial areas. We have that land up for sale right now. We've had a couple of developers come in. We've looked at some plans. We're still working with a couple others. Like I say, we want to find what makes a good fit. We want to make sure that what starts in there sets the pace.
People probably don't realize the time it takes to get that done.
Absolutely,
you
making
could-
those relationships.
You could
and-
sell it in a day. I mean, if you wanted to
Right.
just sell the land, you could sell it in a day. But we have, you know, the responsibility to make sure that what goes in there fits our area and fits our community and helps our community. So we want to make sure that who we sell it to has a performance arrangement set up. You know, we will sell the land. We can sell the land. You know, the council can choose to sell the land for whatever price they wish to. If it's something that really helps our community and fits our community, I'm sure that price could be negotiated. And you know, we've done those types of deals already on other properties, and the council has been very good and aggressive at making sure that what we do fits the community, and I think that's a very good thing. You know, it's an accomplishment. It's something they should be proud of.
So something you always hold in front of you as council
Yeah,
members,
and
that we've got to remember
emphasizing
this.
it, Carl mentioned that first occupant of Centennial Park is probably the most important because it will set the pace, and
Right.
we've been very, very choosy on that. It could, if folks think not much is happening, there's a lot of things happening. We'll just wait as long as it takes to get the right first peg.
To actually make that
Yeah.
visible. And then we have a collage of different pictures
Yeah,
here.
there's a story behind every one of those pictures. Probably, you know, probably the one that I work with the most is probably the Habitat picture in the lower left there with that logo. I mean, just little things like putting a logo together for a Habitat. It can sometimes be time constraining and amazingly difficult.
Yeah.
But we think we've came up with something that represents, you know, what everybody looks to see out of that habitat. I know we have been fortunate to hire a retiree from the Department of Conservation, Randy Haas. He's a 30-year employee. Everybody here in Joplin is familiar with him, with Department of Conservation. And we've been very fortunate to hire him as our habitat manager. And he's working hard to make sure that this habitat not only helps with the parks and the trails, but also helps the city with the main reason that we even got into the habitat business, and that was with our sludge from our wastewater treatment plant. You know, it has a toxic level, not toxic, but it has a higher than allowed level of zinc. So we've been working, and in the past, we've had to spend large amounts of money to dispose of that in a hazardous landfill. We're trying to find a more environmentally friendly way to do it, but also cheaper. And that's where this habitat comes in. We're going to compost. We've got U.S. Fish and Wildlife on board. We've got DNR on board, doing all the analysis and making sure that everything that we do helps the environment and nothing hurts.
So keeping the environmental concerns top of it.
When the average individual sees all of that land and sees what it's used for, they have no clue that that is actually cutting edge. The governor was here recently to review it and look over the whole project because it's not being done this way.
Correct.
And so this is new cutting edge technology of ways to handle and remediate this. And so we're excited that we're a part of that.
So it'll be
bigger
a model
project.
city for others to look at as you're going along. So let's continue with our pictures for the, of course, recognized cruise night.
Historic downtown, yes, we do. We still do cruise night. And it's been going on for more than 30 years, I think. Second Saturday of every month, and we partner with the Chamber of Commerce and shut down the streets. Our police officers will shut down the streets for us, and you know, I think they were
Someone told me
75
last week
cars.
that some of these cars were new when cruise night started. And so I thought that was probably a good observation.
Yes, and actually this Saturday, well, this viewing will be past that, but second Saturday of every month through September, and it brings 75, 80 cars down, and it just is a really good time.
It really ties
Starts
into
at
the
5:30.
historic significance of
Yes.
downtown as well,
Yeah.
and developing that. And we can see some pictures here, the history and the development.
That picture on top is from today, and then that's a postcard, I think from 1920 maybe.
Maybe, yeah, seen the postcard.
And the
Yeah.
development. So let's go on to the next one, and of course here we are.
It's more
looking
historic downtown. Our theater is very active. They've started some new programs. They've got a kids movie each week, and so we've had nearly $40,000 worth of investment in our historic downtown over the last 12 months for private investors. People have purchased those buildings, and they really are, you know, refurbishing them, and so we are really excited about the developments that are coming down the pike. You know,
So
for
it's
our
something where
historic
you, the
downtown.
citizens' involvement, the people who own the buildings
Yes.
being an important part
Yes.
of the city going along. So
There's the governor's
Yes.
visit.
the governor looking, as you're saying, at the site when he was in town. So let's go
That
on
was a
here.
recent trip that we took up north of the wastewater treatment plant on North Madison and showed them the new wetland area. Part of the wetland is designed to be planted with vegetation that will absorb zinc, which zinc is the issue that we're
Right.
attacking right now. That will help us with bringing our levels down to get within compliance. And we're working real hard with EPA to make sure that that is all set right, engineered topography and flow and everything works out. It's just an amazing government project, because you have federal, local, and state involved in this. And I've been in government for many years now, and I've just never seen a project like this where this many agencies and entities can all work together. Have we had our hiccups? Oh yeah, we've had several hiccups, and we've had to have sit downs with different agencies and drive to Jeff City and do different things. But in the end, it works out, and because everybody is working for the common goal, and that is to clean the environment up and help us attain our goal of getting within compliance.
So really becoming a teamwork effort among levels of government, tying things together along there. So. And we have telling me about the downtown. Basically, it shows you the historic district downtown.
Well, this is actually our nationally registered district that falls within our local historic district. But over the last year, our commercial historic district was put in the National Register of Historic Places. I think Chuck Surface wrote a grant, and we had a historic preservationist come and put together this application. And so what that means basically for our property owners, the buildings that are contributing within that district, they are eligible for federal and state tax credits that they would not have been, because it's kind of time consuming to get your own personal property put in the National Register.
So having that district.
This helped them out immensely.
Great.
For those.
Right. Let's go on to the next one. We have, like I say, quite a few pictures. So we've got this one, another lake scene. Tell me about this.
Paradise Lake, kayakers.
Kayakers, you mentioned, out there enjoying the lake. And as far as, that's open use. If somebody has a kayak, wants to take their little rowboat out there, they can
as long as it doesn't have a motor.
And that's new this year, that they've opened that up.
Give it a try. Okay, tell me what we're seeing here.
That looks like Madison and 171. We're working at trying to increase the retail business, but we're also trying to help the flow of traffic. We've got plans down the road to work with MoDOT. MoDOT has funding issues right now, and so do we, and everybody does. But we'd like to see that road expanded, and I think that there's been talks of conventional intersection replacement, and there's been talks of roundabout replacement. Who knows what the future will hold, but I personally am a believer in roundabouts. I think that it would fit perfectly there.
So the roundabout you have in place on the east side has been very effective? You feel that's been successful?
Very successful. I think that, there are those out there who don't like roundabouts, and you're just not going to change their mind.
Right.
But there are anybody who, for example, the Airport Drive, Stones Corner roundabout, the traffic jams, they're a thing of the past. You don't wait like you used to there. And even people I know that used to be opposed to roundabouts came up to me now and said how much good they do. So, they do move the flow of traffic. You just have to be cautious and be careful. The key is yield to everybody to your left. You have
to learn the basic rules of the road, right?
I mean, it's pretty simple.
Now, you mentioned Madison, as if you drive into from the south, we see a lot of changes even right now where some of the houses are gone. It looks like big businesses coming up, so you're continuing to develop some retail on there.
Yes, we have a large expansion of O'Reilly's going on right now, and we have a Dollar Tree store being built. We have other properties that are up for sale. We have a couple properties that have sold, and we believe some business will be moving in there soon.
Okay, so continuing to grow in that area.
And that, one of our hopes is that the Department of Transportation is always broke unless you push hard enough.
That's right.
And so if we lobby enough and see enough businesses, that may put them over the edge to say, well, maybe we could help with some things like that.
Now, I know a lot of cities, their sales tax plays a big role in supporting the city, so as you get more retail, does that in turn help you in Webb City?
We have a very healthy sales tax. Our history's been good. It's increased every year, and I think we're having a good year right now.
Yeah, we're holding our own right now. We have a 1 cent transportation sales tax in Webb City, just similar to most other cities. And right now it's keeping up. We're actually expanding our roadways right now. We're building Galena Street out to East Road, which is a help for a Cardinal Scale, a major employer, a major business in Webb City that we're very proud of. And we love helping them. We've got several other roads. We're getting ready to build the roads in King Jack Park back. That will be happening this summer. We hope to begin soon. That'll be about another 1,400 feet of roadway going through the park, and maybe another 1,000 once we complete that. We've got Railroad Way we need to rebuild. We're working on that. because it was pretty much destroyed when the EPA reclaimed that property and filled the pit up.
Well, I know you have some pictures of the park, and I don't know if they're available, but let's talk a little bit about King Jack Park, 'cause that's a very noticeable thing. When someone drives through town and think, wow, that's really changed. So tell me about the project and how it's going.
There's
a
that
new
playground, and I like to claim that's my personal one.
Yeah.
It's right out my back door of my home. But just a wonderful addition to the park. There's not a day, I would say there's not a nice day goes by that is not full of children. I would say there's not a day goes by.
People
out there in the rain.
out there using it.
But I think that what people see now they're impressed with is nothing compared to what the master plan is going to show them for the future.
So this
of
is
that
just
area.
the start of the
Yes.
change for that area.
Yes.
Yeah, that playground there, I think, is a testimony to the city of Webb City, that something that happens there that I don't think happens in many cities, and that's all the departments working together. I think in years past there were issues with the street department wouldn't help Parks Department, fire department would
So everybody had their own little area of jurisdiction,
the
and
Parks
that's not my
Department
job.
actually could not afford that playground when it was when they wanted it. We wanted it. The city wanted it. The mayor wanted it. The council wanted it. They got together and figured out a way to, from the general fund, to help pay for it. Nobody was opposed to it. Nobody argued. I just think it was a really good way to show that when we got a goal, we'll fix it.
You saw a need, and people worked together to meet that need, and so forth.
Of course, that park, whether it'll be completely done to all of our planning or not, we're not sure, but it'll be well underway for next Christmas season, which is somewhat a goal for us because of the train, all the decorations, all that'll be going on for the holidays. So we have some great plans.
So that park's really a big anchor park for the city as far as things happening and bringing people in.
It's just so visible off of 171 and at MacArthur. So you just see, you can't help but see King Jack Park,
You would
especially now with the pit.
Definitely, yeah. You would like to say that our forefathers of the city understood all that would happen now when they purchased that land.
Right.
But we had no idea a decade ago the EPA would come, do what they did, make this park completely visible from the highway with a brand new green space that's just obvious to everyone. But it's there, and what a blessing and gift it is, and so we're taking full advantage of it.
And looking at possibilities for the future and tying that in there.
Yeah, I think Tom Reeder, our parks director, he is working real hard to make sure that it, again, just like the industries, they fit the city, fit the community.
Right.
But we're also looking towards a regional destination. We're looking towards building a park that will be a regional destination, attract people from outside of the city to come into Webb City and show off our town, show off our park system. I don't think there's a park around that will match King Jack Park when we're done. I mean,
It really ties into tourism, bringing
It really
people
does.
in.
And
Absolutely.
our slogans, we love it here. And we believe that even people in our region are going to love it there even more and want to come and travel there and take part in the things that are going to be going on in
You
King
look
Jack
at that
Park.
hill, that slope, it's a gradual slope. If we could get a stage in the front someday, we've even talked about
amphitheater.
it. Yeah, stage on the trolley track, because you could wheel it out and wheel it back.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ideas out there flying around everywhere, and we're working real hard to come up with a comprehensive plan with everybody's involvement, and come to a decision of where it is we want to go. But right now, we're just letting
And
it.
that's the plan
that's
that
the-
the
one of the
council has
plans
seen
for-
came through the park board, and a lot of hours of energy went into that. And we just enjoyed the conversation. One of the things that was developed out of that, and people will wonder, well, didn't we talk about a swimming pool one time? Well, we did, and it didn't pass on a ballot.
Right.
And so we were going to bring it back, but in the course of all this long-range planning, and we mentioned Tom and his group, it needs to be the right size, the right time, the right place. Everything has to fit correctly. And we're not going to do that pool project till it fits the needs of a future Webb City. To do what maybe we had intended at first would have been far too small, cost nearly the same thing, and not been effective. And so now, in thinking in terms of what's it need for the future, we're willing to wait if necessary to get the size we need to do it
So
well.
take things in stages
Yes.
and working
Our
along those
first
lines.
stage right now has been the sports program. I mean,
Yes.
we have really worked hard to enhance the Webb City Parks Department sports programs. We've hired Molly Garst, who many around this area should know, be familiar with her. She's a standout softball player from Webb City, went to Purdue University, has her master's in recreation. we're fortunate to have her, and we're excited to get her on board and get her working with all the different sports programs.
So you have the fields, you have the facilities that they can use for that.
And we're putting a lot of money. The council has approved a lot of funds. They've been really good to the Parks Department. The council has really worked hard to come up with the funds to help us enhance those fields.
Good. Well, I know there's a lot of things we can talk about, but if people have questions or want to get more information, how do, they maybe Webb City residents wants to keep up with what's happening. Do you have websites? What's the best way to find out?
We are actually in the process of a website redevelopment right now, but we do have on Facebook a Webb City community event calendar that they can like, and I update it hourly probably. There's so much stuff going on. And of course the Chamber of Commerce website, and the Chamber of Commerce has a Facebook page as well. The Parks Department has a website and a Facebook page, so they can find us social media and on the web as well.
The Parks Department actually has a website now that you can go to their Facebook page, and it'll have a link to their website where you can sign your kids up for all the different sports programs and
make
payments right there.
So it's all, you don't have to go into an office to do anything. You can do it.
The old days of coming into the, and we still hold those times where they can come in if they wish to, but it's so much easier just to sign them up.
Yeah.
Right. So planning for the future, and people want that access, today's generation, the younger generation, having that type of information. Well, when you talk to people throughout the community, points of pride, I guess, Mayor, what do you find when you talk to citizens? What are they most proud of when you say, I'm from Webb City?
When you think in recent years, probably the word football has to be mentioned because everybody knows about football. And yet most recently we had an event at the high school where we had 350 grade schoolers through high school who had achieved in the top 10% on their MAP testing. And the academics of the school system are exemplary, and so we're far more wider in our dimension than just the sports programs, the music, and so on. So the school system, I think, when you look at a lot of our new subdivisions, they're bringing families in. Their interest is that school system. I see our job is to complement that and give them auxiliary shopping, working places, play places, other things. It goes back to that illustration again of the three legs on the stool. They all have to be there. So what they might say is most important to them is because they've always had the other things that we offer added to that. And I think that is very important to me as the mayor, is to make sure that all of the components are there in the city.
So that's a constant looking and reevaluating, seeing where we're going and what we're doing, and so forth. And if people have questions, they can give you a call in your office and want to find out what's happening.
673-4651, anytime. I mean, I think that one thing I push, especially with the directors here at Webb City, is to make sure you're accessible. You return phone calls, you talk to people. Sometimes returning those phone calls is uncomfortable, but I'd rather be uncomfortable now than wait till they complain to a council member or something like that. So I'll return phone calls.
So communication's important.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, I'd like to thank the three of you for visiting with us today and updating us on Webb City and the community as well who's been watching. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'd like to thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. I'm Judy Stiles. Hope you can join me again next week at the same time on this station. We'll see you then.